Fate of Destiny has been doing a series of videos, the "What Doesn't Make Sense to Me" videos, where she tries to make her gun nut arguments. She was kind enough to compile them all into one video, so that you could, see them without so many clicks. She begins with the police argument. Police are allowed to defend themselves, so why can't I? And of course, that argument doesn't really work for anybody who believes in the angelic special nature of the police. How, anybody who believes that once you put a badge on a person, suddenly all the frailties and imperfections of humanity go away for as long as they're on duty or whatever. Those people tend to congregate in the disarmament camp. I believe it's kind of disingenuous for her to do as she does, where she calls weapons modern sporting rifles, because yes, rifles can be used for a sport, but they are principally implements of defense. Just like a golf club can be used for defense, but it is principally an implement of sport. And she knows this because she is arguing that she should be allowed to use this thing for defense, but she's also trying to make it seem less dangerous by calling it a sporting rifle. But you can't have it both ways. It can't be a thing not designed to kill people and a thing that is used for killing people in the same argument. So, yeah, it's just a little nitpick I've got. She mentions that people like the president have argued, but if we could just save one life with X legislation, isn't it worth it? And of course, when people do that, they put themselves in the impossible position of proving the negative, right? We can speculate all we want as to how many people are alive and for what reasons they are. But, I mean, when it comes to legislation, demonstrating its effect is a really murky topic anyway. There's no such thing as a legislation without confounding factors. And so, but rather than address the absolute stupidity of the "if we save one child" thing, she falls into the same trap and says, well, what if we hurt dozens, thousands, orders of magnitude are irrelevant. She says, what if we hurt other children as a result of this? I'm just like, don't play that game. Don't sink to their level. I don't know. Maybe for rhetoric it works, but usually rhetoric only tends to solidify people in their existing beliefs on both sides. She talks about media violence. Now, I don't know. I assume that Destiny is lucid enough to accept that there is a meaningful difference between the depiction of a crime and the commission of a crime. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane here, but I am under the impression that media violence is further removed from actual violence than weapons are from actual violence. Yeah, I might be wrong, but it seems to me like she's just trying to point fingers. It looks like polemics to me. And speaking of polemics, she also mentions Joe Biden. Oh gosh, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is easy prey. I think anybody who picks on Joe Biden does so because they don't have a real meaningful argument, so let's just kick the retard kind of thing. Leave Joe Biden alone. The poor man is afflicted with his own mind, and he needs help, and don't ridicule him. And then she mentions Piers Morgan talking about the state regulating cold medicine. So his argument is, well, why can't we regulate non-cold medicine things? I mean, yeah, cold medicine is more dangerous. Wait, no it isn't. I think the problem that Piers Morgan falls into here is the assumption, that because the rifle is more dangerous, then it needs more state oversight. But, I mean, nobody buys a rifle thinking it can do anything other than, make bullets go fast. By contrast, people will buy a cold medicine in complete ignorance of its purpose. But Destiny doesn't actually address that, the flawed nature of the argument. She concludes with, I think, the only argument the gun nuts tends to make. I've mentioned this before. That is, Americans have X number of murders, and, N% of them are committed with a rifle. And she doesn't really attack this completely. And it needs to be brought up. And that is that, why are the disarmers in favor of banning the one category of weapon that is used very little in actual murder? Piers Morgan especially is guilty of this, where he mentions the gun murders and then says, but let's ban the gun that has the least effect here. But, okay, but why? I mean, really, if you're wanting to try something drastic, maybe he just believes it's a step in the right direction or whatever. Let's go with what we can work with. It would be pretty safe to assume that, anybody who argues for an assault weapon ban is in favor of a broader gun ban, but they know that they can't have it here in the great Yankee Empire. So, and again, this argument doesn't work on the disarmers. I don't know why it is that they insist on rejecting the myopic nature of the legislation that is currently under debate versus the very broad nature of the problem they're trying to solve. But whatever. I guess if you believe in the legitimacy of the state, then you're already incurable. So, yeah. Dear gun nuts. Don't attack media violence. It just makes you look stupid. Don't pick on Joe Biden, because that's just bigotry. It's not an argument. And let's be a little more rigorous in our terms, shall we? Thanks.